Breaking the Silence is a podcast that dives into the intricate and often challenging topics of grief and loss within relationships. Through insightful discussions, the podcast aims to explore how pain can be transformed into purpose, leading to healing and growth. By addressing themes such as inner child work and the journey towards feeling alive once more, this podcast offers a beacon of hope for those navigating difficult emotions. Ultimately, Breaking the Silence aims to guide listeners towards moving forward and embracing all the blessings that life has in store as they embark on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual fulfillment. I'm your guide through this journey, Renee Wallace, and I invite you to join me as we break the silence surrounding grief and loss, transforming pain into purpose and finding hope in the healing power of storytelling. Welcome, my beautiful friends. I'm so happy that you are here with me today. We are continuing on with part 2 of Tash and I just sitting down and chatting about attachment styles and the relationships and how we can show up in different ways when we heal our own wounds, how that affects us, how it affects other people. And so, let's jump into part 2. We ended the last one just talking about holding space for others. I was thinking about I heard something the other day about one of the things different from the dismissive avoidant, different with the fearful avoidant, like their wounds, like the dismissive avoidant having the betrayal, the fearful avoidant having the betrayal and trust wound. And then the dismissive avoidant, that defectiveness wound, like there's just ultimately fundamentally something wrong with them. Like not even like I'm not good enough, which is more, I think, can be the fearful avoidant a lot of times. But like that they literally came out of the factory wrong, like they were just born defective, basically.
Something's off.
There's no fixing me. There's just something inherently wrong with me. And then she was saying, then they, the criticism and stuff just reconfirms all that. And then she's like, what do you do when you're criticized? But you go into shame, and there's all the shame of I am bad and all those things, and I am defective and I just can't do this. And then with shame, we naturally hide. And it made me think, isn't like how you're saying how you recluse? It just made me think of that, because isn't that exactly what happens? Like they go into hiding, they retreat and just isolate and shut everybody out, basically,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what would happen. Is there's something wrong with me? Just if I'm just alone, it's perfect. I never have to deal with this. Yeah, I had these narratives of I'm going to end up alone. I'm not meant to be in relationships. All these beliefs that I just kept about myself, because anytime I was in a relationship, it's your partner is your mirror. Mm-hmm. And it's, and that person always reflecting back, you're not enough, you're not enough. It's like they're reflecting back my belief about myself. They're not necessarily reflecting back the truth of my essence. They're reflecting back your belief. And so it could be very painful to look in that mirror at those beliefs. But that's why relationships are so incredible. It's literally the opportunity to grow, because you get to see exactly how you feel about yourself. And once you see it and you're faced with it on a day-to-day, that becomes the doorway to healing, because you're like, oh, I believe that I'm not good enough. Now I know what I'm working with. But oftentimes when we are faced with our mirror, we fight it. We reject it. We say, I don't want to look at this. I'm going to go there. This person doesn't make me feel that way. This is an easier relationship. Or it's your fault, actually, for reflecting it back at me. So we'll do anything to deflect, because it's too painful to just look at it and be like, oh my God, I don't feel good enough. And sit with that and sob with that. That requires a lot of courage and awareness, and it takes time to get to the point where you're willing to do that. Maybe it takes, it's your a million and first relationship where you're like, you know what, I'm done with this cycle. I'm fed up. It takes a moment of like, there's something that needs to change.
I love that because that is so true. Like I was thinking as you were saying that, and then so the mirror and seeing, like, we can either look at it and say, okay, what's going on here? I've got something going on, or turn and run the other way. Like, no, I'm not looking at that. I'm not facing it. And how you saying about then, I'll just go off to a different relationship or whatever. Did you find that you would do that? Like, did you, like, you hear about the Phantom X or like having this idea of like, well, they never made me feel like that, like you forget like, oh yeah, it was really, did you experience that or?
Yeah, as a dismissive avoidant, it was like, this relationship sucks, on to the next. It was very easy for me to just kind of bounce around.
Okay.
As a fearful avoidant, it's a little bit different. I was so triggered by I'm not going to say the name, by my ex, because the mirror was reflecting back, I don't deserve you. I'm not good enough. And I couldn't look in that mirror for 5 years. It just made me feel so small, so depressed, so anxious. I couldn't look at him. He was a reminder of everything that I believed I was not. And so in our breakup, what I did is I recognized this after the fact, which is why life is so crazy, but I kind of saw or had interest in 3 different people, all of which were incredibly emotionally unavailable, a little bit anxious, not a little bit anxious, a little bit dismissive, one of which was fearful avoidant. And me being in those dynamics with those people felt a lot safer to me because there's this element of, I don't actually need to commit. This lack of commitment feels good to me. This understanding that I have of you feels good to me. It puts me in a position of control. Oh, I'm with a fearful avoidant. I know exactly how you're feeling. I could be the, not the role model, but like the savior. I can help. And at the time, I would much rather be the savior. Being the savior makes me feel so much better on an ego level than looking in the mirror that my ex is reflecting back at me of, you're not good enough. Like, which one are you going to choose? If you're going on knee-jerk reaction without any awareness or consciousness, you're going to be driven by the ego. I feel better here. That means this person is probably better for me. 1 + 1 is 2. That's what's so confusing with these triggers is we get confused between what is a trigger and what is our intuition. And intuition, we assume, oh, you feel better to me. That means my intuition is telling me to date you. And being with this person who, the relationship was so tumultuous, well, it felt terrible. My intuition is telling me that you're not the one for me. When in reality, it's like all of the triggers under the surface that are causing me to choose a familiar pattern over something that is reflecting a belief back at me that actually represents the wound that I've always needed to look at.
Yes, absolutely. And ending up, like you said, in those, we can end up then even for long periods of time, like, maybe not necessarily, well, toxic, but maybe just a really not healthy relationship because it still feels familiar and safer. It's not our ideal of what we want, but it feels like it's what we know, it's what we're used to. So at least that feels more comfortable. And to be in something that could maybe be really good or beautiful, it's just too scary to look at sometimes for people of like, oh, well, that would entail me actually looking within, and sometimes people just aren't to that point to be able to look within and see what's going on for them too. So so you got the book and you learned about your attachment style. And so from there, where did you go with that? Did you do therapy? Like, what did all that look like then? As much as you want to share, I mean.
No, always. I'm a very open book. I'm just thinking of what actually happened here because it's been a non-linear journey, but
I don't think it ever is.
No, it's been chaos, but right? It's beautiful chaos. First thing was I started posting. Weirdly enough, that was so healing for me because being met with so much understanding, so much compassion, so much, oh my gosh, this is helping me so much, all of that eradicated my shame. So I spent so much time in the shadows with myself, thinking to myself, I came out of the factory a little defective. Something is terribly wrong with me. I fuck up absolutely everything in my life. To all of a sudden being on this platform where I'm just talking about all of the deepest, darkest parts of myself and being met with so much love and compassion from most people, I think that expedited or sped up my process, because shame is such a dense, sucking, dark energy that just keeps us stuck in the same place. And so when I was able to kind of get through the shame quickly, it sped up everything. Everything kind of went on fast forward. So dealing with the shame, huge part of my healing. The second thing that really helped me, well, I think this is huge, actually, was somatic therapy.
Okay.
Somatic therapy was a game changer for me.
So I'm curious about that, because I've heard you talk about it before in your TikToks. Tell me, like, what is somatic therapy? Like, can you describe it a little bit, or?
Yes, of course. Somatic, so you have talk therapy. We're going to talk about everything. We know where everything comes from. We know what we should do and why and how and all of the thinking. Very cerebral. Then you have somatic therapy, which is therapy of the body. So we have our pains. There are parts of us that went through things that are very, very difficult at some point in our lives, right? There's a reason we are the way that we are. It's super valid. In those moments, like when I was yelling for my mom, my system was like, oh my gosh, this is so intense. It's not safe for me to be in my body with this big fear. We need to sever from the body because it's not safe to be in there. So we become these very heady beings versus being embodied. You know, when you're young, what happens? You have an emotion. You're upset. Someone stole your toy. What are you going to do? You're going to yell. You're going to run around. And then 5 minutes later, you're going to be laughing, right? It's this very innate process of processing emotion. Emotion comes in, we process it, and it's gone. But when you are fearing for your life or your safety, that's not an emotion that anyone can process, let alone a tiny little being. It's not going to happen. So on a subconscious level, we learn it's not safe to be in my body. There are crazy things happening and we can't process this. So we put it in a little box. We travel up to our minds and we spend the rest of our life hypervigilant, making sure that that thing never happens again. Hence, fear of betrayal, can't trust. Our feelers are out for evidence that we are going to be betrayed, and we will act upon that evidence before we even see it. We're going to push you away because we are preemptively making sure that that thing never happens again because it was freaking terrifying and we have not processed it yet. So what somatic therapy does is you rebuild a relationship to your body, the relationship that you had at one point and that was lost. And you learn over time through practices, through being in your body, through sensation, not through thinking, but through sensation. You relearn or teach your body on a subconscious level, oh, it's actually nice to be in there. And once you reestablish, we have a relationship, now you could start titrating into bigger emotions. Okay, let me feel fear. Let me feel heartbreak. Let me feel, because when we live in reaction to fear, where we're pushing fear away, where we're pushing connection away, we're kind of like pushing everything away. I'm too scared to feel anything. So I'm going to make sure that everything is an arm's length away, and I will not let anything in because I don't know how to feel and I don't want to on a subconscious level. When you start letting feelings in again, you realize you've been living life in the middle. You've not been letting anything in. So you're not feeling like you're not actually experiencing the full spectrum of emotion, which is so crazy. And that's something I'm realizing now is like, I was so afraid to be hurt or abandoned or heartbroken that I never experienced being deeply in love because I always kept you right there. You're not coming in. So I can't love because I'm so afraid of the opposite of love, which is heartbreak. So you live right in the middle with your fears and you're acting weird. You're doing weird things so to avoid everything from happening, but you don't experience.
I love that. I was just writing down because I wanted to ask you, and you went right to it, about that full spectrum of emotion. And a lot of times that's what happens. Like you're suppressing all the uncomfortable emotions, but we don't get to pick and choose which emotions we experience then. Like if we suppress it, we suppress it all. So it's not like we just get to say, okay, well, I'm going to experience joy and I'm going to experience love, but I'm not going to experience like all these other sadness or anger or anything else. I'm going to shove all that down. Like we basically cheat ourselves of all of it.
You mute it. It's like, it's muted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you can only love to the capacity you're willing or that you've felt pain. It's like the more you open yourself up to like the courage to feel pain. Like, I am willing to hurt for you. That's why love is so courageous. I am giving you my heart. Don't know what you're going to do with it. I'm trusting it. But also, I can't guarantee anything. I feel like all my life, it's like I wanted to guarantee that you're not going to drop it. And I'm doing everything to guarantee. Life doesn't work like that. Like, you can drop it if you want. That's the courage that it requires to say, take it regardless. I will figure it out if it doesn't happen. But I'm willing to risk that in order to go here with you.
And I think that is such a beautiful moment to be in, to say, yeah, it is sort of scary to me, but I'm going to, trust you with it and see what happens, and trust myself enough to know that I will be okay if it doesn't work out, if you do break my heart or whatever, like, I'm going to be okay regardless.
Absolutely. I'm actually getting emotional talking about it because that's where I'm at right now, is when I went back to my ex and I'm like, I'm actually ready. I've done all this work. I've chased unavailable people only to realize the reason why I'm doing that and why I'm so afraid of you. I get it all. Like, I'm actually here, and he's looking at me like, I get it. We know how I feel about you, but I can't trust you. It's almost like I always kept him an arm's length away because I was so afraid of letting this person in, because I knew he had the capacity to hurt me, because that's the person I wanted to do this with. So that's why he triggered my fearful avoidance. That's why everything happened. I kept him an arm's length away, and now he forced me into feeling the heartbreak that I had been avoiding for 5 years. It's like, sorry, I can't. And I've been living heartbreak for the past 3 months now, and it's my first time, and I've never felt so many emotions. But the counterpart of that is like, I feel so courageous. I feel so proud of myself. I'm realizing I can. I'm realizing now that I've gone there, I have nothing to fear. It's like there was always this weird boogeyman that was in the background that I didn't know why I couldn't love fully. It was a fear of loving, the fear of being betrayed, of being abandoned. And once you face that fear, it's like, oh, I can love now. I can be loved now. Like, I did the thing. And so, yeah, it's just weird how life pans out. It's beautiful. It's painful. It's beautiful. It's all the things.
Yes, that is. I actually even wrote down about you feeling the heartbreak. So that's interesting that you just brought that up, and experiencing that really for the first time, and how that is for you, of like it really coming sort of full circle. And like you said, I'm sure it is so hard and so beautiful at the same time, of like, wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's, for 5 years, the relationship was always about me, about my triggers. It's about how you're making me feel. Because when we're in fight or flight, we don't have the ability to consider somebody else. I'm consumed with how you're making me feel, and I'm hating it, and I'm mad. And so I'm feeling it's all about me. It's all about my reaction to my things, not about how I make you feel. And if anyone who's listening is in a relationship with a fearful one, you might find there's no space for your emotions, because we take up a lot of space. And I'm learning now how to love despite me. Like, this is not about me anymore. It's like, how can I just love from a distance, allow him to go through his process with absolutely no guarantee that I'm going to get absolutely anything in the end from this? How can I just love and, go through my own emotions on my own, and not put them on him, not make them his thing? This is my thing to process. This is my journey. He's going through his journey. And how can I love him and not make this about me for the first time ever? And that it's ironic how that breaks the cycle, because I always hated that everything was always about me. I'd be like, why is this relationship always about me, my things? And it's like, well, you're doing this. You're making everything about you. And I didn't recognize that I was doing that. And I couldn't trust that I could do it any other way. So when you begin doing it another way, and actually walking the walk and considering another person's emotions while regulating your own, instead of taking your emotions and spewing them on another person's because you're in a knee-jerk reaction, you show yourself, oh, like, I am courageous. I am resilient. I can consider somebody else. I can be a good partner. I can love. These are all beliefs I never had about myself.
Right.
So you can only develop those beliefs about yourself when you walk the walk. You can't do it any other way. And when you have confirming evidence that you've always gone in another direction, it's really hard to see yourself any other way. So you do need to break the cycle by actually doing the thing and healing your wounds and showing up differently. And not spewing. I would always say, I just keep spewing onto the other person. I feel something, knee-jerk reaction, spewing it on you. And that is the thing that needs to stop, which comes back to what we said in the beginning. You sit, you recognize your fear, you know what it feels like in your body, you bring awareness to that moment, and you do nothing. Do nothing for once.
Yes. And I think too, like it can be easy. Like I recognize this for myself, like thinking, I'm feeling like I'm in this really secure place now, when you're not in a relationship, right? Because there's nothing to trigger you. Like life is good.
Totally.
But I think that's where, first of all, like I always say, like we were created for relationship. We were created for relationships. We were created for love. And so I think that it goes back to, again, like you said about the mirror, like the only way we truly know how we're progressing in our healing journey is to be in relationship, because that's when we have to face and look at ourselves and see if we really are moving in the way we want to, or if there's still other areas that need addressed. So that was just like a recent realization for me of like, okay, well, you can say you're secure as long as you want in relationship because it's so simple, but there's really only one way to find out, and that is to be in connection and relationship with other people.
Just one little thing on that. A lot of people, as we get older, I think you can get really comfortable being alone, and it's like, well, I'm good here. This feels okay, and I do well on my own. And you could create a belief that, well, I guess it'll take a lot for me to let someone in, and you just build these walls around yourself because it is way easier. You've created comfort with yourself, but it takes courage to be like, okay, let's do the thing. Let's let somebody in. I'm going to get triggered. It's inevitable. And I think going into something with that acknowledgement is really important, because a lot of us will be like, oh, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope it doesn't. No, like going into it like, hey, it's probably going to happen. And when I can bring acceptance and awareness to that fact, I will have a higher probability of being able to call it out when it's happening. Bring softness to that moment. Don't resist it. Don't be like, oh no, it's happening again. And then we don't panic. Like it's going to happen. When it happens, trust yourself that you are able to recognize it and interrupt the pattern with yourself so that you can build trust over time. Like it takes a lot of courage, and we all have that courage. We just need to practice it.
I just got to say, I just love listening to you, first of all. Like you have just such a beautiful insight into it all. And you really do.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This feels good. Talking about it feels really good, especially going through what I'm navigating right now. Just bringing like words to it, communicating with somebody else and having the discussion about it makes me realize like, wow, everything has unfolded perfectly despite it being so messy, so difficult. And it just gives me a lot of faith that whatever comes of this is exactly what's meant and everything's going to be okay.
I love that you said that, because I often say, like we can get caught in that thought of like, why is this happening to me? But it isn't happening to you. It happened for you. Like look at even your experiences and in my growth, like all the growth that has come from that, of what you've uncovered for yourself, and same for me, that then it's such a beautiful thing of like the growth that happens from it, and beautiful and sometimes messy and emotional and all the things.
Yes. It's unreal. Since I've unlocked this, like you could probably tell, I'm crying all of the time. Not even sad tears, just like a feeling, like the feeling, period. That I just feel so many emotions, and it feels good. Like to be vulnerable with you here too. It's like there's nothing to hide. It's okay. I spent so much of my life hiding and being in shame, and now it's just like, this is everything. This is me. This is what we're going to, and I'm not alone in this. Like we're all going through it. We're all trying to figure it out. We all don't know what we're doing sometimes, and that's okay. We're in it together. And it feels this really
makes me want to ask you, with you saying like you're having like allowing all those feelings to come out now, like the tears, even if it's not even sad, just allowing that to flow.
Yeah.
Did you, when you felt like you were more dismissive avoidant, do you feel like you allowed yourself to feel like cry or?
Never. Not that I didn't allow it. I didn't feel it. It didn't exist for me. I was like a robot. I was like a robot. I was very like pragmatic. This. That's all I got to do. Go to work, go to school. Like it was very robotic. And I thought, wow, I'm so efficient. Wow, I don't feel much. Like I don't get how you move through life feeling so much like that. So I thought vulnerability was weakness. And so it's weird because I thought of myself as like higher because of my ability to function at high levels without giving a shit. And I thought anyone else who, feels so much, it's a hindrance to you. You're wasting your time. Yeah. So it's interesting, which actually perpetuates it, because if you think highly of it, you're like, I'm this thing. It's another way of hiding from yourself. It's another way to not take accountability. It's a way of your brain protecting yourself from the thing, because it's like, it's created this idea of what you are. And it's an illusion. It's a delusion, really.
Oh my goodness. Yes, that is so spot on. I'm just thinking like, so do you feel like you sort of in a way thought like, I'm sort of superior to everybody? And then at the same time, what's interesting with that and so mind-blowing is like, here's this superior level, like I function at this capacity and I don't need to feel all this stuff and all that. And yet at the same time, there's that really underneath is that shame there.
Yeah.
And like,
thinking about that makes me emotional, because I'm thinking about all of the years that I was just it's a survival mode.
Absolutely.
Really. You're running from something. And my mom always told me, you were always running this place, that place, doing like so much movement. The moment I sit still, I was unwell. I had to move. And that's it. I moved in with my ex. My fearful avoidance was triggered, and we were sitting still. It's like we had the perfect life, the perfect condo, the perfect family, the perfect friends, still. And I was like, get me out of here. I was packing my bags like once every 3 weeks. Like I had to get out, because all my life I spent running. And now I was like, now I'm still with this perfect person. My system couldn't, because it wasn't ready to face everything that it had been running from my whole life.
I think, well, and that makes sense, because dismissive avoidants tend to be like workaholics, right? Like go, because they don't want to stop and like see anything. So they're either like, really into working all the time or busy just doing. I could see that in some of my avoidance ways, like being busy, like creating things, like different things, just to always keep myself busy.
Yep.
And what else was I going to say about that you made me think of? And then I think when you said like when you were in the space with your boyfriend and the slowing down there, then I think how you said you were like packing your bags like every 3 weeks, like I'm out of here, I can't do this.
I gotta go.
Like maybe you can even in a relationship, like detach in your mind even, which again, avoidants do that of like by creating some kind of distance, like in different ways, whether it's working to keep yourself busy or addictions or different things, anything to not look at that.
That's it. That's what would happen. If your brain doesn't want you to face that wound or understand that wound, it just wants you to get out. So the thoughts that would come through is, you feel awful here. This is not for you. He's not for you. It's like it's a misunderstanding of the signal. The signal is going, red alert, something feels uncomfortable, something feels wrong. And your brain goes, he's not right for you. So you disconnect. You're like, okay, well, you're not right for me. And if you believe the trigger versus have that awareness to go, okay, just because you kind of have to fight your system, which is like, that was the hardest thing for me, was again, deciphering between intuition and trigger. Because everything felt like it was my intuition telling me to get out. This person's not good for you. This person's not good for you. When in reality, it's like, no, it's not that. It's that you've never sit still in your entire life. And this person is reflecting back at you the beliefs that you have about yourself. And those beliefs are really painful. So you should sit through them. No, you don't want to do that. It's too painful. You're out the door.
Gosh, that is so spot on, because that is exactly the beliefs and the illusion, the story that's created to say, oh, they're obviously not the right person for me, because if they were the right person for me, I wouldn't feel this way, right?
Exactly. Or what are you here? It would feel good.
Yes. Yeah. Because they are all about like it feeling good and being peaceful and all that. Or even things like, I can't give you what you need, or just all the stories that go into that. And then, yeah, I think like you said, you even have to stop and say, what evidence do I have that this is true? Like, or is this just, and that takes a lot of self-reflecting, of course, to then be able to look and go, is there really evidence that they're not good for me? Or is this just feelings coming up inside me that I need to look at?
It's interesting because I grappled with that. Even while I was with him, I was like, because he was so awesome, he's literally the best person on earth. So because he was so epic, I'd grapple all the time. Is it me? Is it not me? And then as soon as the trigger would come in, it was bigger than me. The trigger was bigger than me. I would fall into it every single time. Like, no, it's just not right. And then as soon as I got some space away, nervous system comes down. It's like, no, but he's amazing. Go back. And then it's like, is it me? Is it him? Trigger came in, out. So it's just, the trigger was always bigger than me.
And I absolutely believe that. I believe that in the moment, the trigger is so much bigger that all you know to do is, I got to go, right?
Yeah.
But I think one way, because I heard somebody asking, like, how do you know when it's the trigger or when they really just aren't right for you? And I thought about that. And I think that, first of all, a good clue, and I actually heard somebody else, a dismissive avoidant, talk about this. She was asking her partner, like, how did you know that ultimately you really did love me? Because he said he didn't feel like love like other people typically might. You like an anxious person might, where you get like, oh my gosh, this is so incredible, and the butterflies and all the stuff. And he said he noticed like he wanted to come back, like he kept coming back. And that makes sense to me. And when that person asks, like, how do I know the difference between it just being my attachment wounds or they really aren't for me? And I think that when you can step away and your nervous system is calm again and you still want to be with them, that's a good sign that it's your wounding. I think that if you step away and you don't feel like you want to go back, or you can just still acknowledge all along, that wasn't the right fit for me. Like, then that probably exactly was that. Like, it just wasn't a good fit. But once your nervous system's calm and you're like, what did I do? Like, they really were an amazing person. I really care about them. I think that's when we can acknowledge, like, oh, this is something internal that I need to work on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Also, fear is very frazzled. It's very urgent. Like, I need to go now. It's not your intuition. That's fear. It happens now. You're in reaction to something that's very deep. But that's also what you said is true. It's even when I wasn't with him, I was always going back to him. And even when I wasn't necessarily going back to him, he was always in my heart as my safe space. Like, I never let him go at all. It's like, if I knew he was there, I was like, okay, I'm okay. And he was there for a long time. He stayed my safe space throughout our breakup, pretty much the entire time until the end. And anytime I thought of him, my nervous system calmed down more. I was like, as long as he's around, I could function. I think that's a good indication. It's like, you really love that person. It's just funny in retrospect, I never put the pieces together that, oh, this person feels like my home. That's what I've always wanted. That's what I want in a relationship. It's like, oh, this person is my home. Perfect. Now let me go with this really emotionally unavailable person who is just going to, whatever. Like, what was the logic in that? It's driven by patterns. It's a cycle. And I couldn't see it as I was going through it. But yeah, now it's just, I'm looking back and I'm like, wow, all along he was my home. And I wasn't ready to be with the person that felt like my home because I didn't feel I deserved it. I didn't feel like I could have that. Like that was meant for me in my life, that I was ever going to be able to have that. So I just kept him there. But now, after having gone through all of these emotions, it's like, I want nothing else. I just want to feel at home with the person I'm with. I don't need all of that other stuff.
I love that. So do you feel like then saying like you always felt like he was like your safe space and your home. Like even when you were in maybe say those other relationships where they were emotionally available, just like in the background, him still being there, like, did you feel like he's still there? Like, I know it's okay because he's still there.
That's it.
And now,
it seems disrespectful that I would be going to do my own thing, knowing that he's there. But that's exactly what it was. It's because he was there, I felt safe to
go do whatever.
Carry on with my pattern to figure out what was going on. Yeah.
And so now to sit in the space of he might very much love me, but he's not there. Is that sort of where you're at now?
I couldn't even imagine looking at somebody else from this space because he's not there. It's weird. He gave me the permission to figure things out. And now it's like, okay, I don't even want that. So I feel like that's the final piece of the puzzle. Regardless of what direction it goes in, I need to learn how to now stand on my own 2 feet and give him that space. And I do feel like it's the final little loop of my cycle. And I don't know where it's going to lead, which is also scary for the little anxious part in me where I'm like, I don't know. I have nothing. He gives me nothing to hold on to, So I'm just like, yeah, it's time for me to just be me and do the things that make me happy and not seek external validation, which is what that always was. It was like, oh, I'm being pulled here. Let me like explore that. Just, I don't need to give in to those pulls that are coming from a place in me that are looking for validation outward. Like those parts have quieted down because I'm realizing who it is that I am, what it is that I want, and what I want to build. I'm just ready to build. And I think before I could build with somebody else, I need to, I guess, still kind of put the pieces together for myself. And that's the space that he's giving me to do as well by standing on his own 2 feet. So he's just helped me from beginning to end to now. He's still helping me in the way that he's showing up. And I'm just so grateful that he changed my life forever. So I owe it to him.
I love that. That's one of the things I say about the person that I met. Like, there are no hard feelings whatsoever in any of that. Like, I'm so thankful for that. Like, truly, it's like, again, one of those things where you look at it and say, this happened for me because it woke me up to so many things, so many patterns in my entire life. And so I think it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't mean it's not heartbreaking at times. You're experiencing it right now. And that heartbreak can be brutal for sure. But at the same time, so beautiful in the lessons that we learn and in the healing that takes place within us, and that we learn to be who we need to be for ourselves,
Yeah.
So just to wrap this up, is there any advice that you would give to someone who's currently struggling with being dismissive avoidant or fearful avoidant? Like, is there any advice you would give to them?
The thing that's helped me the most is being vulnerable. And I know that that's like counterintuitive for someone who's dismissive or fearful, but starting at the level that feels like you're pushing yourself a little bit, but you're not throwing yourself into the deep end. If you're the type of person that's never shared with anybody ever, share with one person. Practice the muscle of not bearing the weight of everything by yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. And knowing that you don't have to do life alone.
That's the thing. Co-regulating has changed my life. Sharing has changed my life. I did it on a massive scale. That's not necessary. Just one person being there, because that does help eradicate shame. And shame is the thing that sucks us down and keeps us stuck. So just knowing that you can be received by someone and heard and listened to is such a healing experience, because we are not alone. We're all going through a variation of a similar thing. We all just want to be loved. We all just want to feel safe. So we're all the same. We just have different ways of dealing with our wounding, but we're all the same.
Absolutely. So I have shared, like, as I've been sharing about attachment theory, in my podcast, I've shared like your TikTok and everything because I want people to connect with you. But I want you also to let others know like how they can connect with you and work with you and things like that. So in what way can they do that?
Yeah. So through my TikTok, there's a link there where you can book with me. We have one-on-one sessions where we can work through any of the things that are coming up for you, whether you are in a relationship with an avoidant person and you want to figure out how to approach the situation, whether it's more about how you want to navigate your own anxieties and show up in relationships feeling more empowered and less like you're living at the mercy of your own wounds, which you feel might be perpetuating cycles in your life. Otherwise, I have a podcast that I just released myself called Unattached with Tash, available on Spotify and Apple Music, Apple Podcast, sorry.
I love that. So has it officially launched now?
Yeah, so I have the trailer and then I did the first episode 2 weeks ago. And I'm really, really excited. It's a fun project. It's a way for me to talk longer because the TikToks are obviously they're just like quick 4-minute videos. So I love this, like going into depth. This subject is not like, there's just so much to say, There
is, for sure.
Every nook and cranny and still keep going. So that's been fun. And the biggest thing that's happening right now is I'm making a school. There's an app called School, SKOOL, where that platform will be the school of relationships with me. Basically a community of people who are all aware or becoming aware of how our traumas are affecting our relationships. And it'll be a place for us all to reconvene and feel safe, where you could talk to people going through your thing and just connect. I'm going to be doing live Zooms on there once a week, where if you have something going on in your relationship, you can speak up in the Zoom and then we can all chime in and kind of work through whatever you're going through together. All my courses and my ebooks are going to be there. It's just going to be like a hub for all things that I believe in and that I feel are healing all together so that we can all feel safe and move through life together.
I love that. That is so exciting. I do just have to say real quick, I didn't share this when we did the intro and started the podcast, but I have actually experienced coaching with you a little bit, like had some sessions with you. And so I would highly encourage anybody to connect with you. And it was always so good just to talk to you and sort of, get it from your perspective and sort of even see. It's like you said, when you talk with somebody, it's such a good way to process. And when you just do that, things make so much more sense. And it's like you can sort of step out of it for a minute and see it through somebody else's eyes, or just even just the verbalizing of it. It's like, so I highly encourage any of you to reach out to her either in school or, coaching, talking one-on-one, or check out your podcast. I'll be sure to put all that into the show notes so that they have access to that to get in touch with you.
Amazing.
And I thank you so much for being here. You do not know how much I have enjoyed talking with you, and you're making a huge impact. Huge.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This has felt so good. Definitely feeling all the emotions, but just getting it out with you, I feel so much better. So I thank you so much for having me on here.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Breaking the Silence. As we conclude our time together, let us carry forward the stories we've heard, the emotions we've shared, and the connections we've forged. Remember, the journey through grief and loss is not one we walk alone. In the silence, we find solidarity. In our shared experiences, we find strength. And in our vulnerability, we find resilience. If you or someone you know is navigating the complexities of grief, know that there is support available. Reach out, lean on your community, and remember that healing is not linear. It's a journey, and you are not alone. Thank you for listening, Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being a part of this community. Until next time, may you find peace in the spaces between the silence. Please be sure to subscribe below and leave us a review. If you'd like to connect further, you can find me on Instagram at Coaching with Renee.